Alright there, your mate Yorkie here. And this is Tales Over Coffee. We start the day together with a narrative tale and a cup of coffee in the hope of welcoming a blessed day. We return now to Harmony and the Fall of Reverie. What might be the last time? I've said that 3 times in a row though, so don't rely on me saying it. Act 5 is the last act apparently. I just don't know if we'll get through all 3 chapters. Brand new day. I live in the aftermath of what the aspirations have done to Brittle. Ollie's room. I open my eyes and roll out of the sweltering cocoon of the bedsheets.
Wow. It's already so hot.
Something's off with the climate. It's as if the heat never left the air. Or our walls, our sidewalks, our bodies, not even the dead of night. I stretch and rub my face and start in on my morning routine.
Oh, come on. You can do it.
This kind of mundane ritual comes as a kind of relief, but won't last. It's been a couple of days since the aspirations told me they'd bring a change of the world. It's almost time for me to fulfill my role. In the meantime, I have things to take care of before the Naiads comes to life. The place is now home to dozens of patients. After leaving MK's clutches, a lot of them had nowhere else to go. Lord welcomed them with open arms, and Ursula played along. It's nice seeing the Naiads so busy again. I just wish it was under better circumstances.
All right. Let's do this.
As I leave my room, I hear them chanting, screaming. A buzz like angry bees surrounding an interloper. The protesters. Even since Ursula drew up the lawsuit, there's been a pro-MK presence outside the Naiads. Today, there are more of them than usual. There are signs, megaphones, and the occasional camera drone. Not the best start to the morning I've ever had. Right, let's see what lies ahead. Choose one of the next 3 roads. Every day's a struggle, the Alma Commune, or more harassment every day. Can't do that, it's locked. Every day's a struggle. I had stayed out of the fight. Or Alma didn't make itself seen or heard. Every day's a struggle. Since Laszlo died and the prescience arrived, we've been burning through money faster than ever. We have to pay the bills, buy supplies, provide the necessities for our guests, as well as ourselves, and make sure the place doesn't collapse around us. Maybe I should look for some kind of outside help before things overwhelm us. Nora said some of the prescients might even need medication soon, fallout from their treatment at the hands of MK. Although Nora hasn't mentioned it, the school she'd like to go to opens for applications soon and tuition is steep. We're going broke way faster than expected. You never see this in the movies, the honourable revolutionaries going broke trying to maintain their plumbing. So here we are brainstorming for ideas.
What about it?
It's, must be worth something.
Less than you'd think. He built that place himself out of cocktail sticks and willpower.
His eyes.
And the idea of selling it is, to me, quite infuriating.
I didn't mean to.
I know. But Nora can't hear about this. It would turn her rather feral, I'm afraid.
Yeah, I'm afraid it might do. It's almost turn to let Osai escape his tired body.
Right. Noted. So, are we thinking of accepting MK's offer?
Oh. They sent us a lawyer and deal. Financial compensation if, and only if, we drop all charges and sign a contract with more fine print than any human could possibly read. I have until night to decide. For the time being, Omar and Ursula are waiting for me. They want to know what I think, and Ursula looks stressed. We don't have a chaos crystal. That's a no. Oppose MK's offer. It's all we can do, isn't it? I mean, it's not we could consider it, but that would go against everything we've done. No, the idea of slipping into bed with MK is horrible. But is that reason enough to say no? The money would save us, keep us going,
There's an old Oxyon saying my mother used to quote. The hand that strikes cannot be the hand that feeds.
I think that's right. I hope it
They
is.
can't just smash things up, throw money at us, and expect everyone to forgive and forget.
Oh, they can. They've got away with it before, I'm sure.
What sort of precedent would that be setting?
That's a lot of money to leave on the table for the sake of principle.
Sometimes you've got to take the risk. When did anyone manage to change things? Really change things without taking a few risks?
I smile and think of Jade, her passion and drive.
Someone has to stand firm. Draw the line. Stop the charade.
Find a way to survive. Chaos. You're on the right track. Be careful, though. Your mum seems stressed. We have to work with chaos, do we? I only have until tonight to find a solution. Something. Anything.
There's no way this offer is on the level. There'll be traps, loopholes, tripwires.
Maybe they're traps we can turn back on the hunter, though. Something we can use to turn the tide.
Maybe. I'm not a lawyer, and neither are you.
Yeah.
I doubt they're bluffing about the money, at least. They have enough of it.
Perhaps.
I can see Omar closing in on himself, thinking into his thoughts. Maybe he'll come up with a good idea. I'll leave him to it. I have a couple of other things to deal with today. Ursula has a warning for us. Let's have a look at this. What is she thinking? I want to check with my mother. She speaks to me in the kind of severe, measured tone I remember well from my childhood.
Either you find a solution, Polyhymnia, or my hand will be forced. I don't like the thought of accepting their proposal any more than you do, but there are too many things depending on us right now.
The bitterness in the voice is directed at MK, not me. I feel some small relief in knowing that. It's clear how much she hates saying this. She's right. My powers aren't feeding anyone, and it's hard to see what will happen next. How do I take care of everything? No school. Not a school, rather. It's going to be so expensive. If only there was a way to make MKA give you more money. How do I take care of everyone? In the kitchen, I steel myself and look at the bills. Ouch. Can't sell the bar, we'll have to ask the president to pay some kind of rent or move somewhere else. There's no good options but becoming a landlord. That's the system, isn't it? That's the intent. Capitalism feeds its own companies, shareholders, landlords. And the rest of us are left picking over the scraps, helping each other survive. Right now, turning to charity might be the only way to keep the place running. Alma's charity. This is the only way to get what we need. I head out into the city. There's a collection of stores that provide for those in need. There's no catchy name, it's just called the Association. It's our only hope right now. I mean, Laszlo's garden can feed a few of us, but not the crowd we're currently dealing with. As I approach first shop, I feel embarrassed. The other people here look in far worse shape than I do. Shame washes over me. Everything the Association provides to me is something I can't provide to them. How did things end up like this? Not just for me, for everyone here. Atina is a wealthy enough place, modern. There should be more than enough to go around. A drone buzzes overhead in counterpoint to my own conclusion. There is enough to go around, but those on top have taken it for their own. I grind my nails into my palms, gulp down my emotions and step forward. I mostly need food and medicine, but things are rationed as much as possible. Medicine is probably the more important right now. This is difficult to say and hard to hear, but everyone is sweet. My stomach grumbles as I wait to reach the head of the queue. I think of Nora's drawn face, virtually refusing to eat even the smallest of meals, with obvious half-truths. Need food. Finally, I arrive at the head of the queue, and the woman behind the counter smiles warmly at me. She inquires about my day lightly, gently. He knows not to pry. I smile and reel off some general platitudes. When she asks what I need, I point to the food stores. This should keep us going for now. Fundraiser. They share what they can because they do not fear it will be taken from them. A group of Alma locals have gathered money to help us take care of the Plessians and managed after Laszlo's death. It's not much, but it's enough to help. They set up a page using MK's own crowdfunding portal. Hard not to laugh at the irony. I'm surprised MK didn't shut it down. So were the organisers, they tell me. But it was probably too small for MK to even notice. Can't thank them enough without crying. They hold me, these strangers, until my shoulders stop shaking. We'll manage thanks to them. Funny how things turn. Not long ago, didn't like the way strangers were portraying Laszlo. Time to answer MK. Nora asks Jade to help her take care of the Plessians, while Yana helps me fix some things around the Naiads. Once we finish, I have nothing else to occupy me. I had until tonight to answer MK's offer. I can't avoid it any longer. Take the money so we can take care of the Plessians and keep our home, and so Nora can study what she wants. Hope MK will eventually fall. I'll refuse the offer even if things get worse, because we hope we can win in the end. So I feel such shame at the thought of being paid for my silence. Laszlo is dead and MK is throwing money around as if his life had a price tag. Money won't bring him back. It won't stop people from missing him.
I'll keep fighting, whatever happens. They're not asking me to sign anything.
I'm most certainly in this for the long haul.
MK is not my biggest fan right now. They're throwing around terms like associating with terrorists and destruction of property and legal ramifications, so I'm just hanging in there with the rest of you.
More people in MK targeting sites. Nora's distress is evident. Reassure Nora. She needs to hear that things are going to be okay. She needs someone to believe in. I take Nora's hand in mine and squeeze gently.
Everything's going to be alright. We'll find a way to make things work.
I almost lie, pretending my powers can make it so. But she's an adult. Not my baby sister anymore. She has powers too. MK is offering us money, maybe because they know they'll end up losing more.
I'm applying for financial aid to get us a better lawyer. That way, we may be able to face MK on the same footing.
Unlikely.
If we take the money, we won't need it. But otherwise, it's a good idea to have legal advice. Whatever happens, we'll figure it out together.
Thank you, Polly. I'm so glad you're here. Let's hope for the best.
Refuse the money. Omad and Ursula join Nora, Jade, and Yana at the empty pool to hear the news. I wait until everyone is gathered before I speak.
We're not taking the money. We can't give in to MK. We have to keep fighting.
MK's gonna want to put you in your place now. You know that, right?
They've spent a lot of time working on the art of retaliation.
It would have been wiser to accept the money and betray them when you had room to maneuver. Now we'll have to find another way, while we still can.
Nevertheless, we send along our answer. It only takes a minute before we receive an eviction notice. Didn't see that coming. MK wants us out by the end of the month, a week and a half. As an aside, they mentioned they plan to open our gardens to the public as a service to the community. New Elysians and tourists will love this idea, and we'll be on the street. How are we going to enjoy that? Well, Enjoy you will. Have to. Later that night, the Legal Aid Association gets back in touch to inform me that we aren't eligible. There's no explanation. They might as well have said, just figure it out by yourselves. MK is making sure we can't fight them in or out of court. I'm not looking forward to telling Nora the news, but she needs to know.
So, they got back to me.
Nora's face falls.
That doesn't sound like good news.
It's not. We aren't eligible.
Did they say why? What were their criteria even? How are we not in need?
She believed in me despite her intuition, and my solution fell through. I feel like I failed her.
I wish I knew. I'm so sorry, Nora.
I'm glad you tried, but... ouch.
Yeah. It's more than an ouch, but she doesn't want to articulate it. I don't blame her. A new tax. That evening, the Trivid News only has one thing to say. Monoconcern is proud to unveil a major initiative to make life on Atina better for everyone. It'll upgrade the old and retired tramway wagons and reopen old public parks. These amazing projects on behalf of the people will of course require a massive amount of financial support. Not to mention what MK described as increased demand for security in these public amenities, meaning the pseudo-police presence. And of course, those highly trained paraprofessionals need to be paid. So there's going to be a new tax on essential goods like food, tampons, diapers, and baby food. The richest people on the island need our money. Give us back what we already had before they took it away.
I can't help but wonder about the timing.
Yeah, you'd think MK did that to spite us specifically if they weren't so kind and generous. Everyone else too. But we're obviously on the menu.
Could I have done something to avoid this? How will we get by? What are we going to do now? Well, it is all falling apart, isn't it? Can't take that one. The world keeps going, there are other things to do. Everyone's a bit stunned after that. We drift around like ghosts, processing everything that's just happened. It's hard not to feel alone. Eventually, Nora and Jade start brainstorming about how to keep helping the prescients no matter what. Ursula and Omar are back on the budget with new intensity.
At this rate, I'm even willing to say a prayer. I'm not certain who will hear it, especially with the revelation of Reverie. But it can't hurt. I'll do my best to help. But for the time being, I need to leave for the shop. I have a few things we might be able to use.
Yana wants to help as well, but it's clear they don't feel like they belong here. They'll probably head out for a bit soon. We have a little chat. It's nothing deep, and I can tell they have something on their mind they aren't telling me about, but I can give them time. As if things aren't overwhelming enough, I remember there's still a lot of things to do today. The more people work together, the more I feel warmth returning to the Naiads. Start anyway. MK feels unstoppable, but we still have to try and find a way to change that. Repair a sink, change the light bulb, move furniture around, make some more space, hang on to normalcy. We'll get through this somehow. The end of the day. There's one last thing to do. I am so exhausted. It feels like an eternity since I came back to Atina, looking for Ursula. Things have only become more complex and uncertain since then. I just want to shower and sleep, but there's one last thing I should do. Meet the aspirations. No doubt they expect to hear from me directly at this point. If I try to sleep, strange dreams will wake me before I can manage any rest. Dreams of mangrove roots, of chip tunes, of rippling water and colourful flames. No time like the present. I cradle my medallion in my hands. frank discussion. Can't do that. Alright, a forbidden feeling. The time is near. Nexus. Reverie is holding its breath against what's to come. I think of what happened already. I think of how uncertain the future is for both our realms.
How are you feeling?
To be honest, horrible. Drained.
Laszlo's dead. Yana's being targeted by MK. Yade's been taking risks. Ursula's determined to go to war. Nord is in danger. Omar's struggling. Atena's eyes are on us, and I can't help but wonder how much of this is my fault. I'm starting to wonder if I should just stop. That's wishful thinking. I've felt these doubts before. The only way to the future is forward. But I'm hurting. We're all hurting. And I need the aspirations to care. If I can't tell them how I feel, how can I make the choices I need to make? That isn't possible, I don't think. Lose the truth. And story. Maybe I can. I need to open up to the aspirations about what's happening on Brittle. Affecting me more than I can cope with.
Good morning, Laszlo. MK is targeting us, and they're hurting almost everyone on the island. They've tortured the Prescients. All over Athena, people are in pain. And they're hurting each other. Brittle is doing badly. And Reverie hasn't helped as much as I hoped.
Such a situation requires more than hope.
Well, at least I tried.
This is our oracle.
We must not dismiss her concerns.
Well said. We'll talk about Reverie. The aspirations manipulated me, tried to pressure me. They keep talking and talking inside my skull, pulling me to their reality whenever they see it fit. They hurt each other, they lie, they're trapped in an endless contest. As these thoughts race through my mind, I make no effort to keep them private. Let them see, let them understand, I hope.
All of you, you're not good for each other, or your own world. The terrible vision I saw told me that much. Are our realms really meant to be symbiotic?
Hold up. What are you saying?
Oh, this is why they say to never meet your heroes, darling. It's natural to be disillusioned.
You're correct that Reverie is imperfect and fallible. Indeed, brittle in its way. Your skepticism is not unwarranted. But neither is it productive at this stage.
Why should I trust you lot? What? Can I trust you lot? What choice do you have? Yeah. Call to reality. They all look to me somberly. It's like a cold shower.
You have expressed doubts in the past, but we see now that we failed to cast them away.
Aspirations are not gods, nor are we omniscient. We have our limitations as humans do.
There's gotta be something we can still do, right? To make it even?
If Reverie is forsaken, Brittle will never endure.
Desperation oozes through every word. And every pause and silence. They're trying to make me stay.
This isn't the end, darling.
So many voices, so many ideas, all collected without harmony. They talk like they're afraid that if they let up for a moment, I'll leave.
It's up to her.
The moment has come. If I decide to leave, I'll forsake the role of Oracle. I'll break the link between Reverie and Brittle. If I stay, I'll be placing my fate and that of my family in the hands of the aspirations. The choice will change the future permanently. There's no going back. We'll stay. Stay. Glory, please, I need you. We need you. You need us. Together we can bring MK down and take our revenge. Nod is inevitable. They've eased my worries, at least for now.
All right. I've decided. I'll stay.
I can't say I know exactly what you're going through. But you have my sympathy, darling. I was MK's prisoner and I was freed. I see you yearn for your freedom as well. You may yet find it here.
At least, I'm not alone.
I have a family, a community, and a teen running Reverie. End of chapter. Act 5, Chapter 2. Is that Act 5, Chapter 3? Well, we'll at least look into Chapter 2. That looks big. Alright, we'll come back to this one tomorrow. Let's just see where we're starting out, shall we? Happily ever after, Omar has found a powerful story to tell. And this is the Naiads, which is where we will pick up next time. Actually, no, maybe not. I can't decide. I'm tempted to go on. There's so much noise in my head these days. Ursula's MK lawsuit, the aspirations urging me to choose a heart, the potential futures laid out before me like a board game. Everyone else is nervous too. Stepping outside the Naiads, a group of prescients have suggested we take a walk and head to the beach. Maybe a good idea, take everyone's thoughts off all that's happening. But my mind is elsewhere. As everyone's getting ready to go, Omar approaches me.
I think now is a good time to try boosting morale. Right before battles, great leaders often tell stories or make influential speeches.
I'm not a leader. And definitely not a great one.
May I remind you that you're the only one in touch with Reverie? Your scope of action is much larger than everyone else's. I don't doubt that it's uncomfortable. But people look to you for a reason.
I don't know how to answer that. I nod long as he produces a scrap of paper from his jacket and shows me a fragment of text. It's a brief excerpt from an old Oxian legend, just 4 lines.
It's about the darkest days of Athena, a time when the Oxion civilization was on the brink of collapse. I think we should try sharing it with people.
Someone is calling us from outside. It's time to go. Rather be alone. Alright, I'll come. Once upon a time. Let's dive in. Let's go. We've chosen the way forward. Now we go. By the time we step outside, the crowd has begun to drift toward the beach. It's gratifying seeing everyone together after all that's happened. The wind picks up a little, carrying the chatting and laughter far and wide. The poem Omar gave me is abstract. From what I can make out, it speaks of dark days for Athena, but also of Reverie. Or for Reverie.
There was a war? In Reverie?
Apparently. It doesn't go into details, but it seems the fall of the Oxion culture set something off across the divide. The aspirations turned on each other. It was quite brutal, it seems.
They never told me.
I guess they didn't want to heap any more pressure on you.
Me?
You. The Oracle. They couldn't find a way to end the conflict, so they created the first Oracle. In turn, the Oracle chose a new heart, and the war ended.
See the way it's going? The leader, and each of us lead our own lives and those around us in one way or another, chooses the direction of life. Chooses what the aim, the aspiration is. Defines the way forward. He smiles. There's almost a wistful gleam in his eyes, something like nostalgia.
Of course, until this week, I thought it was all a metaphor. A parable on trust or something.
There's a giggle at the back of my mind, and Chaos appears striding alongside us.
And here I was, thinking all copies of that little ditty were destroyed. I'll have to tell Power. It'll send him loopy.
Omar sighs, gently plucks the paper from my hand and reads.
It ends with the aspirations vowing to help Athena in return for the Oracle's aid. Sounds familiar.
I see what you're doing.
Me?
You. Maybe it would do everyone some good. To hear that what we're going through has happened before, and that everything turned out okay.
That's why stories exist, right? Community. A way to share experiences and to shape the collective imagination.
Yeah, from the first telling around the cave campfire.
To inspire.
We reach the beach. There's a good amount of people here, so it's easy to forget how many there are of the Naiads, with all its rooms and hidey holes. But spread out before us, yeah, that's a lot of people.
You coming?
Yeah. Just give me a minute.
I take his hand and pull the oxygen poem
I
loose.
think I'm going to go straight to the source on this one.
He hopes in a playful jealousy before removing his loafers and setting out across the sand.
Come on. I know you're there.
Oh, no fair. You cheated. All those powers of yours.
Oracle? Comes with a title. You were listening?
Only a bit.
Well,
A lot.
Want to tell me about it?
I don't know. The others might get all moody. They don't like talking about it. It's all
I like
ancient
this
history this and water under the bridge that.
I look out across the beach. There are a few fires going now. But there's a sense of restlessness, a fidgety tension. The laughter comes from earlier has ceased.
Then again, perhaps a story might not be the worst idea.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Time to be inspirational. Power could speak. Bond could speak. There was nothing. Nothing? That nobody's speaking? Or it's that chaos speaking? You know what? For this particular one, for the story, I'm going to let Bond do the speaking. Try to negotiate a truce. Oh, I can't. Well, if we gain truth from the... No, let's go here. We've stuck with Bliss all throughout. I decide to just roll with it, play it by ear. With help, of course. Omar gathers the crowd together with waving arms and a fair amount of theatrics. He tells them that I'm going to speak. That I'm going to tell a story. They actually seem excited.
The stage is yours.
He steps aside flamboyantly and I move to the head of the group. There really are a lot of people here.
Hi, everyone. So this is an old Oxyon story that, well, I think it might be just what we all need right now.
Oh, let me tell it. Do go on. I'm ever so good.
Fine. Oh, so chaos is the one saying it. But we need something inspirational, something pragmatic.
Pragmatic is my middle name.
Yeah, I don't think it is. I think chaos is your full name.
Not really, of course. It's Suzanne.
That's possible.
At first, there was nothing.
As stats go, that's pretty absolute.
At first, there was nothing.
Very nice, good diction. There was nothing for a very long time indeed. And then, there was me. Chaos was born!
I repeat the line editing on the Who.
The first aspiration born from humanity. You see, we're not creators, we're not gods. We're concepts. Your concepts, made real by the collective subconscious.
My audience looks a little confused about where this is going, but it's too late to back out now.
As the first Homo sapiens looked out into the world, all they saw was chaos, unrest, freedom, unlimited possibility. From that possibility came... me.
There's a hint of pride there, that they were the first.
I helped them make sense of the world, embrace the limitless, appreciate the boundless potential.
Then I came along.
I stumble over my words, restart the sentence, and rephrase Bliss's addition to the tale.
I taught humanity how amazing community could be. How sticking together made everything a little bit nicer, you know? Every time you lot take a new turn, one of us lot is bored.
Interesting. Chaos and Bliss are first aspirations. It's hard to imagine a time when all humanity had was freedom and happiness.
And for a long time, it was just the two of us, wasn't it, you little gremlin?
That's right. I was the warm fire after a hunt, or a newborn's first squeal.
And I was the growl in the night, the open plain ready to be explored.
The crowd are back on board, some are even leaning in to hear me better.
And after that, well...
Well, indeed. Things may have gotten a little... out of hand.
With you two in charge, I'm not surprised. I opened my eyes, I hadn't even realised I'd had them closed. Everyone's silent, everyone's looking at me. Chaos and bliss are there, but so are all the rest. Whose version of the story do I want to tell? Well, we will go with Bond. I trust Bond to tell the most empathetic version of the story, the version everyone could use right now.
The War of the Aspirations. It began... I cannot say how it began. Several have claimed the title of instigator.
Yeah, I just want to say I like the echo, the sub-voices that go on with the Aspirations voices.
But the first blood was drawn between chaos and power.
That doesn't surprise me.
In a sense, it was inevitable. By our very nature, we attract opposition. Chaos desired greater freedom for Reverie, and so they hoped to abolish the heart. Power disagreed.
Could have seen that coming.
His army lay siege to the labyrinth of chaos.
Army? Power mentioned something about an army before.
With enough egregor, we are able to conjure familiars, or split ourselves into 1,000 willing facets. Power used both.
But chaos laid their traps well, and their trickery ate away at power's advance.
They say truth is often the first casualty of war. And so it almost was for us.
They attempted to break the deadlock, on whose side I cannot recall, and they paid a heavy price.
For my own part, I tried to stem the tide of hostility. But no one would listen. Those were dark days indeed.
He sighs and falls silent. I'm not sure what to say. I like the heavy piano. Before I come to any conclusions, I see glory fade into view.
It was rather horrid. You saw what happened. When you rescued me from that misery pit and removed the heart of Reverie, all hell broke loose. We were all afraid it was only a matter of time until the fighting broke out again.
Reverie and Brittle are mirrors. The state of one affects the other. And in the island of Atina, we found the keystone between the two realms. Was it we who caused the downfall of the Oxyons? Or was it the waning of their culture that forced us to war? Impossible to know. The bond between our realms is not a single strand, but an endless sea of connections.
I like that he's using a kind of cat's cradle thing as well, going to weave in threads. Both dimensions are in a bad way right now, that's for certain. But where did the downturn start this time? With us and my mother's meddling, or with the aspirations themselves? Was it MK or me?
That whole mess and this one are perfect examples of why we needed an oracle. When you can't rely on causality, at least you can get a second opinion.
Someone to choose the heart. Someone to help shape the direction of Reverie.
Oh god, I wish I would remember that phrase. I love it. When you can't rely on causality, you can at least get a second opinion. My favourite phrase from this entire freaking game. Yes.
Someone to become the heart behind the heart. An observer and a guide.
Worked out pretty well, I'd say.
And then, I think I've got everyone's attention. Nora wants me to keep going. Nora nudges me in the
Go on,
ribs.
man. You've got them in the palm of your what's-it. Don't lose them. Maybe talk about the first Oracle. What were they like? Why did they choose who they chose?
Chaos interjects with a burst of laughter and jerks their thumb toward the other aspirations.
Good luck with that. Can't imagine you getting anything worth repeating out of this bunch. Or at least nothing coherent. Everyone's got an opinion.
It's like our story, isn't it? We did our part. Now it's up to you to bring it home.
But I don't know how the story ends.
It doesn't end. No stories end.
Yes, and no stories really start.
They just peter out.
The start of a story was one of the things I loved in a Teddy Pratchett book. Where do you start? And every time you look at a start, you can look further back for another one.
Look, I can tell you this much. For every cycle of humanity, each time there's a big old change in your world, a new aspiration is born.
We're gonna have a new aspiration, aren't we?
We're well overdue for a new one. Like, really, it's been ages.
Have we really settled? Is this all humanity will ever be? I want to tell the crowd about the oracles, what they mean, what they're meant to do. I've been wondering if we were going to go into Marxian philosophy of the end of the overthrow of capitalism. Because there seems to be hints at it sometimes. But I'm not sure how to go on. Wing it, or try to find out what really happened. No, you're the storyteller. Their input is essential, but right now they need you. Do not do this. You do not ask them to storytell for you. Ask Omar to fill in. You can bring him in, yes. What would Laszlo have said? One can only wonder. My next. Did he trust me to take it from here? That's where we go. You are the leader now, Polly. But right this moment, you're not better than anyone, but for the right this moment, you are the leader. What are the aspirations trying to tell me here? Well, if you want me to wing it, I'll wing it.
Truth is, I don't know what happened next. I don't know what the Oracle is meant to represent. I guess we have to make up our own story from here on out.
Omar moves to stand beside me. He's here to help. And after checking permission, he addresses the crowd.
Axion writings tell of a final oracle. A chosen one, for lack of a better term. Their deities, the aspirations Polly spoke of, all of them were waiting for this final piece of the puzzle.
Ursula steps up.
They called this oracle Harmony.
My heart
They
sinks.
referred to every oracle this way, hoping against hope that this time the title would stick. Hoping for the moment an oracle would become one of them. An aspiration.
Now my heart is beating like a steam hammer, trying to pound its way out of my chest. A wave of nausea washes over me. What's wrong with me? Who were the oracles? Why them? Nexus. Rather changed, doesn't it? I decide to consult the aspirations, despite their reluctance to dictate the end of this story. I just hope I don't look too odd back in Brittle. I open my eyes and they're all there waiting.
Who were the oracles? How did you choose them? Did you even choose at all? What do you want from me? Really?
The silence that follows is heavy, laced with unspoken thoughts. I see a few of the gathered figures cast anxious glances at one another.
So, nothing's changed, has it? I'll have to figure this out by myself.
You are Harmony. You're the one that unites Brittle and Reverie, and the aspirations themselves, and the people of Reverie. You are balance. I close my eyes again, imagining myself back in Brittle.
Harmony, wait!
My eyes fly open.
Don't call me that!
The truth is, we chose the first oracle out of desperation.
We needed them.
We needed their guidance.
We needed an end to the war. An end we were unable to bring about ourselves.
So, that's all they were?
Yep.
At all?
Initially, yes.
But then, well, we realized you were all right, you lot. Humanity.
You may not believe this, but it turned out we'd been so obsessed with our own affairs that we'd completely overlooked everything in Brittle.
And vice versa?
And so the arrangement became permanent, and the oracles became a guiding hand on the rudder of Reverie.
Not leaders, but advisors.
Major domos.
Producers.
Friends!
But what about me? What do you want from me?
That, I'm afraid, is up to you. What kind of oracle you choose to become is not up to us. It is the very nature of the agreement that you continue as your own person.
Right.
I close my eyes and I'm back in Brittle. Getting the hang of this now, hopping between realms. Time pauses easily as I hop back and forth between Brittle and the sanctuaries. My audience is watching.
Well, in that case, I'm going to be...
This is where we choose. Ambitious, empathetic, spiritual. Interesting. The one I've been following closely is Bliss, who is not an option here. Truth is probably my second, and then Bond, which would mean spiritual. A good Oracle month is dedicated to more than just materialistic considerations. I died. I took down a huge gulp of air.
I will be dedicated to causes greater than myself. Previous oracles were peacemakers, decision makers. I want to look further than that. I want to look at the whole, not the pieces. Guide the aspirations toward the end, not the means.
The crowd nods along. They agree with me. And also, since Bond was also one of ours, empathetic. I closed my eyes for a moment before addressing the crowd again.
As the Oracle, I want to be empathetic. As the Oracle, I want to feel what others feel, and consider how others will react.
Necessary if you want huge goals.
Every decision must be for the benefit of the many, not the few.
People are smiling and there are a few claps. Vicious as well, no. Building sanctuaries. It's the first Oracle built our sanctuaries. I could finally be as messy as I wanted. Tell her the truth. The crowd's talking. As the murmurs merge, I manage to make out the overriding opinion. The Oracle I'm describing is a kind of priestess.
There were other oracles who took this road. The very first, in fact. They built the sanctuaries, private places, where each aspiration could be separate from the others. Places where we could feel safe, unthreatened. The war did not end immediately, but its intensity lessened as we were given the space for rational thought. It was an idea we could never have conceived of.
But then, how did they end the war?
There was only one possibility. They also had to bring peace to Brittle.
Cannot do those because it would need one more. Cannot do that. So... Nora and Jade have been with us all along. My sister and her lover. I've heard them giggling for the last few minutes. The aspiration fades and I find myself rising out of my trance. Throughout the whole experience has been a noise pulling at my attention. Then it is again, Nora and Jade giggling. I lean over to Omar.
Did I say something funny?
You looked like you were reading from a script, talking about the first Oracle.
Oh, I didn't realize, but I don't think any of it was particularly funny.
Were they even listening to me?
Hey, what's so funny?
The smile immediately drops from Nora's face. She coughs, pulling at her beanie. The whole crowd is looking at the two of them.
Nothing. Sorry. We just...
Honestly, all the history is interesting, but it's not primetime stuff, you know? We want to hear about actions. Real stuff we can work on.
That's
stuff that
fair.
can make a difference.
The future builds on the past, but it isn't the past.
Like, how did this first Oracle settle the conflicts in Brittle?
Going by the folks here, the Prescients, the Oracle must have been definitely powerful enough to stop a war.
An offering from Reverie or an offering from Athena. I feel like we are between the two, but I feel like we're becoming more and more part of Reverie. So that's where we're going to go. There are no aspirations here, but I feel the words flowing through me from elsewhere.
The first oracle split their time between the realms. They learned from the aspirations, but also their fellow humans. This was their skill. Duality of perspective. But to end the war in Brittle, they had to rely on Reverie. They listened to the aspirations, individually and together, and in the end, they gave the oracle a gift. A way to bring peace to Brittle.
The aspirations, our drives represented. Bliss, power, community or bond, truth, chaos, freedom, glory. You could argue that they're not all major drives. You can argue that they hide other things or that there are other drives. But we see how that's represented. And it's long been a theory of mine that the most successful way forward is to rely on all of the drives. And the problem with unlimited capitalism, unrestrained, is that it just relies on glory and power. The problem with communism, which has never actually existed in the world, is it relies on community and harmony and denies power and glory. But when you combine them, you get something better. I may be wrong. I'm a 55-year-old part. What the hell do I know? Sense of wisdom, though. Truth, much needed wisdom. We're going the priestess's way, philosopher's way, that we need wisdom. Truth's voice stirs in the deepest recesses of my mind. Though I can't understand their language they're speaking, Oxygen, I understand the feeling behind it. There's something they want me to know. A gift they take joy in giving. Something granted once before to another oracle. This is how it happened.
Wisdom. The aspirations gave them wisdom. After spending so much time in Reverie, the oracle inherited more knowledge than any human before them. They were able to see beyond the veil, into pure reason. This wisdom gave them great power. But their vision of Brittle became blurred, unsure.
Man doesn't operate by wisdom. Not entirely. Mankind, I should say, not just man. That sounds like I'm denying women. No, you know what I mean. Mankind. Humankind. Everything else is closed. The state of Athena. What was the island like back then? The crowd is hooked. So am I, actually. I don't even know if it's me who's telling the story now, or if it's some or all of the aspirations are talking through me. But all these words, all these stories, they want to hear more. As if caught in the same strange trance, Omar addresses the crowd.
This was back when Athena was facing its darkest days. There was an ecological disaster. The specifics are lost to time, but we know the population was devastated by vicious storms, which brought floods and mudslides. Then, as they are wont to do, a dictator arose, taking advantage of the pain and suffering to wield absolute power. The people were despondent. The ruling class's own inadequacy provided the perfect distraction. As they lurched from one calamity to the next, the populace grew ever more apathetic. And when there were signs of rebellion, half the populace looked away. Or sided against their own interests.
Commenting on modern life much here, dontnod?
It was up to the oracle to break this cycle, to break the system that had enslaved the people. So they had to act. They decided to.
Interesting. But faith in the people. Face the tyrant. Face the tyrant, glory. Your story needs a good villain for the hero to shine. Essentially, we're talking about othering. Making the other something you can blame has been used by many people, good and bad. Unite them, give them something to believe in. Again, something that can be used for good or bad. But we have been following truth. Facing the people. I know I've said she's the leader at the moment, and she is. But a leader is not necessarily someone who leads from the front. You can lead by guiding, you can lead by uniting, you can lead by uniting others, giving them something to believe in. Images float before my eyes. Speeches, learning, the forging of new systems.
The Oracle had faith in the people to dig themselves out. They pursued a path of knowledge, teaching the populace a different way to live. The foundations of new forms of government were built. Curiosity reigned, and people studied the world around them. What's more, people shared their knowledge. They didn't secret it away or censor it. They taught one another. This gave them more power. Through the sum of that knowledge, they decided to...
That's locked, so it's only a clean slate. The only way to start anew. Start again.
They decided to start again, thanks to the gift of prescience. The Oracle and a select few decided to begin a new cycle. Outside of the old, they believed Athena had become unsalvageable. That they had to instead create the world they wanted to live in.
Well, I know we've gone quite a distance today. We have another chapter after this. So we're going to end there, my friends. In the meantime, hit the like, comment, subscribe if you want the channel to grow. Enjoy your coffee. May you have a blessed day.